That's something wrong there. 1 second, what is it? No, that's right. 2 points in Libra. That's right. And then there's 2 points in I feel, like Moon in Cancer. So feeling, balance, and believing, and faith and belief. That's the Pisces element in there. Okay, so we total this up with the daylight increasing and the nighttime increasing. It's balanced. 7 points daylight increasing, 7 points darkness increasing. This is the splash type. It has both sides in balance. So doing his own thing, being involved, it's very naturally spontaneous, and that's easy balance. Nothing to say much more about that. The daylight is greater, 6 darkness and greater. So there's a slight tendency to be darkness is greater, to want to belong, to be responsible, be part of a team. It's there a little bit more than the daylight is greater, but that's not a huge distinction. So these, the light, darkness, the light and darkness, the increasing, decreasing, greater, daylight greater, darkness greater, it's not a huge, they're all pretty well represented. In fact, sometimes so when we go to the seasons, you'll see again 4 winter, 3 spring, 3 summer, 4 autumn. It's a classic splash type because it has planets in all of the different seasons. When you get to the cardinal, 6 cardinal, 3 fixed, 5 mutable. So there's strong drive inside of all of this. We didn't see it immediately like we saw the Moon in Cancer, but we had 6 cardinal, then mutable, so driving and very adaptable, pushing for something and being able to adapt at the same time. It's more difficult to stay fixed at any one thing because that fixity is the excuse me, least element here. When we look at the elements, 3 fire, 3 air, 2 earth, the 2 earth and 6 water. So we saw a lot of water before. 2 of the sun in Pisces, Moon in Cancer, Scorpio ascendant, Mercury in Pisces. So the water is by far the strongest quality. The emotional, sensitive, judgmental, impressionable, take things personally. And he takes things personally, but he's driving and adaptable, cardinal and mutable. But is not the most practical. Practicality, the earth side, is the weakest element. And again, between masculine and feminine, it's slightly more feminine. That's slightly darkness greater, slightly more feminine than masculine, but they're all fairly evenly there. So when we look at the rulerships, the sun rules 1 point, that rules the midheaven in Leo. The moon rules Cancer, it's its own ruler. Mercury, there's, sorry, just look at the chart. Mercury rules the Saturn in Gemini. Nothing in Virgo. Okay, so Venus rules 3 points. Venus rules Pluto, Uranus, and the Mars. So Venus has a prominent rulership. Mars rules 2 points, the Venus and the Scorpio rising. Jupiter has 4 points. So understanding and teaching and proper guidance, those are the strong things. So whenever he's this accentuation, the Saturn only has 1 point. So among the rulerships, Jupiter is the strongest. His principles, his understanding. So when his principles and understandings are good, they will guide his planets. They'll have a very powerful effect on his planets. When his understanding or his principles are off track or not centered, or perhaps he's a little bit wrong or guilt-ridden or whatever, it would really have a strong effect on his chart as well. So his Jupiter health is an important one. Venus is also next strong. So his sense of being talented, being appreciated, being liked, having things of value, having beauty, his choices. So the choices you make are very important too. So his understanding and what choices to make are really predominant in his attitudes. His understanding of what choices are right, what are wrong, what do I have, what don't I have. These are strong issues. And this is, and he has his moon and Mars both have 2, but the moon is in Cancer, insecurity, which is in the 9th house of understanding. So a secure understanding what people are doing, whose people, he would have expectations about how family should be and how everyone should be. And his sun being down in the 4th house, he's going to have a strong sense of security too. So he might have a strong sense of how he should live up to everything, how the family, how everything should be going, and he might have trouble. It might be more complicated than that to maintain it for himself. Certainly, he has the kindness and the caring in him. But with the Neptune square his sun and the Saturn square his sun, it implies there might be some challenges to, he might care too much, he might be taken advantage of because of that. Okay, we've done all the charts deeply, so I'm not spending the whole time on it, but I just want to be running over some of these things. So I'm going to pull this one in, pull up the houses, put the signs down a little bit lower so we can still see them. So when we go to the houses, you're going to see the whole screen, but I have a little menu on the right-hand side I have to maneuver around. Okay, so we look at the houses, just in the 1, 2, 3 points in the 4th house, security, 2 points partnership, 2 points morality, 2 points friendship. So security, morality, friendship, partnership, strong issues, and most accentuated. When we look at the rising and setting, we have 4 rising, 8 settings. So certainly here there's a distinctive difference between the 4 points rising, which are the outer planets, and all of his personal planets are setting. The 8-point setting. So he's much more of a reactor and taking things in and responding to things than he is the instigator, projecting things. So he has a strong capacity to respond and react to other people. 6 above, 6 below. The functional world is subject to being evenly balanced. So the only thing so far is that setting reactive side, selective reactive. When we look at the 4 quadrants, 2 intuition, 2 thinking, 4 sensation, 4 feeling. Again, these are the 2 on the setting side. So the sensation and the feeling are a strong point. In the houses, 6 angular, 3 succeedent, 3 cadent. So here, the angular stands out. The cadent and the succeedent are smaller. So in the signs, the cardinal was there, the mutable was fairly high in his attitudes, but the fixed was lower. So you're seeing that the cardinal line up and the angular line up. So as a person who has things he's got to do, he's going to prove things, he's going to make things happen. There's a driving force in this chart. Okay, what the drive would be, it's not so much the midheaven drive, a career drive. It's partly the ascendant relationship by first house, 7th house, but the 4th house, a drive for security, for being centered, being secure, being motivated. That's really strong. Okay, here we go. Okay, winter, spring, summer, autumn, even in the fire, air, earth, water, even in the house. Oh no, that's that one. Sorry. With the houses, we have the air is stronger. They're all fairly even. 3 self, fire, 4 relationships, air, 2 concerns earth, 3 rewards water. So air communications is the strongest, with water following close behind, water and fire behind it. So we have this by attitude, by nature, this emotional, security, sensitive, oriented person, but with a strong need to express himself and communicate. And what will he communicate? His sense of security, what's right and wrong. And yeah, so okay, we have this. So just little things stand out. In the 9th house moon, the understanding, this is a strong factor. Jupiter, Venus rulers. There's not any really extreme standing out, except the only thing would be the angular cardinal, the drive. I can do anything. I got to do something. I can't sit still. It has to be doing things. That's will stand out. That'll make him unique because the Pisces more adaptable. So the cardinal is his moon. So what he needs to do, when he needs something, he's going to drive to push for it. Okay. Only last thing I'm going to glance at here. So we saw the sun, the 4th house. What we see is, we're going to just take a minute to look at the angles. The IC, his personal motivation point, is Aquarius. He's motivated by knowing what's happening, knowing what's happening in his life, knowing what happens, knowledge, education. He's motivated to knowledge, to accomplish knowledge. It's ruled by the Saturn, which is in the West, I think it would be ruled by Uranus, which opposes Venus, but really we use the rulership of Saturn. It's squaring the Sun, squaring the Neptune. So he's motivated to know the complications that have to work on problems, to solve problems and know what to do. This is good for the astrologer. He sees the motivations and he's using knowledge. He needs knowledge to explain how to deal with it. This projection is Scorpio, so he has a private, determined side. When he's into something, when he knows something, he's going to express it deeply. He's going to look you in the eye. He's going to have that intensity. And because that's opposed by Mars, it's a little bit volatile. He might be a little quick to judge about what's right or what's wrong. There is a sort of feisty, because Mars opposes that, there's a sort of argumentative side here. Again, it's all in the emotions. His midheaven is in Leo, so the need to be creative, to be best at whatever he does. I'm going to be best. So he has the personal motivation to have knowledge. His importance, his confidence will come out of having security, but his confidence will also come when he can be the best kid, where he can be best at whatever career he's doing, so he can shine in his career. So this is an interesting puzzle. The Leo's on the midheaven, so he needs to be best at what he's doing. The Sun's low. It's going to take extra work. He has to know what he has. It takes extra work to get out there because he has to put up with the functional world around him, which would be more of a challenge. But still, there's a need to be creative, to express what's to be noticed. And the descendant being in Taurus, there's a strong need for appreciation in relationships, to be liked, to be appreciated. So when it's there, he'll be very active and assertive because Mars is there. But when he's not getting appreciation, he'll get angry. He'll get restless. It'll bring this powerful, very passionate side with the Mars there, but it's all guided by the Venus of what he likes, what he wants. His Venus that rules that is it's in Aries, ruling the Mars, but it's opposed by Uranus, so it has an insecurity. So there's some challenges in his relationship house, and the descendant by itself, it wants to be appreciated, wants to be liked. Doesn't want any dislike would get instant judgment. Any contempt or any anger would get instant judgment. Okay, so really this need for security personally, and the motivated by knowledge and by knowing things, knowing people, knowing things, and the Sun Mercury is not in the third house of teaching and projecting, but this is still, it's taking in things deeply. He takes in impressions, he absorbs things, he takes things in. This is a setting chart. He's very sensitive to the motivations and the reasons people do things. That's a very useful thing to back up the depth knowledge of astrology. Okay, so we've gone over it. We just got a sense of these things because it's important to just be aware of these things. His Pluto, his Jupiter, is in Capricorn. Again, the need to understand responsibility and work. Again, not a strong point, but need to be. But it's sextile to Mercury, trine to Mars, but it's only the one square to Pluto. So that, there's powerful struggles about what's right or wrong just around this Pluto. What friends are right, what friends are wrong. Pluto in the 11th, coming in and challenging against Jupiter. So really, to do this properly, you go through your points, and then once you get the pattern type, the moon phases, you look at the points and you compare the two. Then you go through each planet and the sign above. But here we see the sun is very low, the moon is very high, but both are on the setting side. Okay. Now we'll come back to this as we're going. You come back to the natal chart all the time because the transits, and as we look at the transits, they're going to go around. They're going to reflect how they're going to show the things happening and how they happen in the natal chart. So, okay, I'm going to take the points over here.